Hey everyone, this is Anam. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be explaining the poem The Road Not Taken from the book Beehive of class 9. I'll also explain all the poetic devices which have been used in the poem. It is written by Robert Frost, who was a very famous American poet. In fact, he's the only poet to receive 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry, which is a very prestigious award. The poem is about making choices in life. Two roads symbolize different options. Many a time in our life, we face a situation where we have two options before us. We have two choices, but we have to make a decision and choose one. Sometimes this choice is very difficult because it may change the course of our life, right? So at times we get confused as to which option to choose, but we have to choose wisely because once a decision is made, we cannot go back in time and change it. We have no option but to live with our decision. So we should choose wisely, right? This is what the poet wants to convey through this poem. Let's begin. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Wood means forest, yellow wood means forest in autumn season. So in autumn season, leaves, they fall from trees and they become yellow in color. So as you can see in the picture, the forest is looking somewhat yellow because it is autumn season. Two roads diverged in a wood, and sorry I couldn't travel both. So once, when the poet was on his journey, he was moving towards his destination. The path he was traveling on, it divided into two. It fogged into two, as you can see in the picture. And sorry, I couldn't travel both. The poet felt bad because he was confused. He did not know what to choose, which path to continue with. He was sorry, he was feeling bad that he couldn't travel both the roads because he wanted to try each one of them. But obviously, he was only one person, so it wasn't possible. And be one traveler, so he had to choose only one path. Long I stood and looked down as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. So he stood there for a long time. He contemplated, he kept thinking about the roads, and firstly, he looked at the first road for as far as he could until it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other just as fair. So after seeing, after observing, after looking at the first road, he took a good look of the second road also, and perhaps the better claim. Second road was more promising. It looked better than the first one because it was grassy and wanted wear. Wanted wear means had not been used. So it appeared that not so many people had taken the second road because it was grassy and it wanted wear, means it wanted people to come and take this path. It was very inviting. Though as for that passing there had warned them really about the same. So firstly, the poet says that yes, second road appeared to be less traveled upon, but then he says that there wasn't any major difference between the two roads. I think travelers must have chosen both the roads. Some people must have chosen the first, while others, they must have chosen the second one. Had warned them really about the same means had used them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. That particular morning, when the poet reached that point, it appeared that he was the first traveler of that particular morning, and all the leaves were laying on the paths neatly. They were not crushed by the footsteps. No step had trodden black means the leaves were not crushed by the footsteps of the travelers. Oh, I kept the first for another day. So, after thinking about both the roads, finally he selected the second road. He said that okay, today I would go with the second road, and the first I would keep for another day. Maybe I will travel on it some other day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Although the poet said that today I would travel on this path, and the another one probably I would take some other day, but he said this just for the sake of saying it. He didn't mean it, because in his heart he knew that this path will lead him on to some other path and then to the next, so he might not be able to come back here and try the first path, travel on the first path. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Now, the poet is talking about his future. He's saying that perhaps in future, somewhere ages and ages hence, means after so many years, perhaps I will be sharing this experience with a sigh, with a deep breath. That, okay, once I had a situation in front of me and I had two options. I had two roads in front of me and I had to choose only one, and I chose the second one. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. So the poet, he took the second road because it was less traveled by. He wanted to have adventure in his life. He wanted to do something different. He didn't want to choose the path which most of the people were choosing. So he chose the second path, which was less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Means that particular decision had changed the course of his life. That decision made him the person he is today. So, see the first line again. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Different scholars have different opinions about this sigh. Most of them believe that this is a sigh of relief, that yes, the poet was satisfied with his decision, right? Because when he chose the second road, he did not know what will be the future. Will it prove to be a good decision, a right decision or not, right? So in future, when he will be thinking about his past, about the decision that he made, this sigh could be the sigh of relief, while some scholars, they believe that this sigh is a sigh of regret, that the poet was feeling regretful about his decision. So it's correct either ways. It's just about your perception, the way you see it. That's all about it. This was the poem. Let's discuss poetic devices now. First one is symbolism. Two roads represent two or more choices in life. The road not taken is not only about a road which the poet was traveling on. It's about our life, right? So two roads they symbolize two choices in life, two options in life. So it is called symbolism. Next is rhyme scheme. Very easy. For finding out rhyme scheme, you just have to see the last words, if they rhyme with each other, right? Or they do not rhyme. So you can easily find out rhyme scheme of any paragraph. Next is enjambment. Enjambment means running lines from one to the next without using any kind of punctuation mark. So as you can see the paragraph on the right hand side of the screen, you will see that first line has a comma, last line also has a colon. Second, third and fourth line, they do not have any kind of punctuation mark. So when in poetry, in a stanza, punctuation mark is not there at the end of any line, and it just continues, the thought in the next line also. It is called enjambment. So I have given example of only first stanza. When you will go through the poem, when you will read it yourself, you will see that enjambment has been used in all the four stanzas in this poem. Let's discuss now stanza wise. I have already discussed about rhyme scheme, enjambment and symbolism. Next is anaphora. Anaphora means when two or more consecutive lines start with the same word. As you can see on the screen, second, third and fourth line, they all start with the same word and sorry, and be one traveler, and looked down, right? So when two or more consecutive lines, they start with the same word, this poetic device is called anaphora. Some children get confused here. They call it repetition. They say since the word is repeated, so it is repetition. No, when the word is repeated as the first word of two or more than two consecutive lines, we do not call it repetition, we call it anaphora. Next we have alliteration. Alliteration means repetition of consonant sound in close connection. See the third line, because it was grassy and wanted where. Wanted where sound is repeated, which is a consonant sound, so it will be alliteration. Next is personification. When a non-living thing is personified, when it is treated as a person, it is called personification. In the same phrase, wanted where, personification has been used. Like I said, the second road, it looked very inviting. It was promising. It appeared as if it wanted people to come that way. It wanted people to travel on it. So, road is a non-living thing, right? It cannot feel, it cannot want. Human beings want. So, since the road has been treated as a person, it is called personification. Next is repetition. In stanza 3, fourth line, yet knowing how way leads on to way. Here, the word way has been repeated, so it is called repetition. In stanza 4, second line, somewhere ages and ages hence. The word ages has been repeated 2 times, so it is called repetition. That's all about it. If you liked the video, then please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you so much.